want to thank everybody for joining us here today in Butte. We are here because last fall, Butte Silver Bowl and Anaconda Deer Lodge were excluded from funding that was meant to go to these local communities, and it didn't happen. You know, Congress passed the American Rescue Plan to help cities and counties across Montana perform essential services without interruption as we recovered from the pandemic. This funding was meant to keep cops on the beat, it helped keep hospitals open, and it was invested in small businesses all across our state. But part of this bill was specifically crafted to help revenue-sharing counties with public lands and public resources. That included counties like Butte Silver Bowl and Anaconda Deer Lodge, counties that maintain federal public lands and help to keep Montana the last best place. But when the Treasury Department issued their funding guidance last fall, they left out consolidated city, county, municipal governments. What that meant was that these two counties were left out of critical funding that they needed for essential services. Fortunately for us, the folks in Butte and Anaconda made a little bit of noise. They got a hold of my office, and we got to the bottom of it. After teaming up with my Republican friend from the great state of Alaska, Senator Lisa Murkowski, we drafted a bill known as the Local Assistance Fairness Act to make these counties whole. That bill passed in the 2023 federal budget, and it was signed into law by the President. And today I can announce that Butte Silver Bowl and Anaconda Deer Lodge counties will be eligible to receive just over $1 million each. What that means is they'll get the dollars that they missed out on in the past and the dollars that they should receive going forward. That is something to celebrate. I will tell you that this started out by some bureaucrats that didn't understand legislative intent. We clarified the legislative intent with the bill called the Local Assistance Fairness Act. And when people come together and they make a little noise, people listen. And so that you all know, and I know you do, I will always defend Montana's communities and take anybody to task to ensure that the folks in this room and in this nation and across our state have what they need to succeed. So I want to thank both Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher, J.P., thank you, and Bill Everett, Bill, thank you. They're here today for the pressure that they put on me to find a fix. I appreciate the close relationship that we've had from the get-go, and you guys know you can get a hold of my office day or night, so never be shy, not that that was ever a concern of mine. But because of your work, both of your counties will be made whole, and I'm sure there is no shortage of local projects that this funding will be used on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to JP to talk about how Butte Silver Bow intends to utilize these dollars.
Thank you, Senator Tester. We're so proud to work with Senator Tester's office to be able to bring this funding back to our community. My office in Butte Silver Bow in the Finance and Budget office recognized the lack of funding that we were not going to receive, that all the other counties in the state of Montana were going to receive. And so when we found that out, we recognized that Anaconda Deer Lodge was omitted as well, and so I got a hold of Bill Everett, and together we worked together to work with Senator Tester's office to make this right. This funding is critical for Butte Silver Bow. As you know, any extra assistance that takes the relief off of some taxpayers is always welcome. And so the use of this money, although we have not identified exactly what we're going to do with it yet, we're going to make sure that the money is put to good use. Anytime we can take money and utilize it to do projects that is going to offer our community a benefit, we know that this is important for our citizens, to the taxpayers, Infrastructure needs throughout our community, our businesses that struggled through the pandemic are all things that we have identified and we worked with through COVID-19. The ARPA grants that we've received have been put to good use, and we're continuing to do that on a daily basis. So with that, I know that I can't express enough the work that and thanks that we have for Senator Tester, his office, that when we found out that we were left out of this funding, they went right to work with us and they came back and had a solution. And we thank Senator Tester for his continued partnership with all the communities in Montana. But I can assure you that anytime we make that call, we get a response. And I just so appreciate that.
Thank you, JP. Thank you, JP. We appreciate your leadership that you give to Butte Silver Bowl. Next we have Bill Everett with Anaconda Deer Lodge. Bill?
Thank you, Senator. I just wanted to do a big shout out to our senator here. You look at a map and you think DC's a long ways away. It's not when you have a senator like Senator Tester. It is simply a phone call away. As his staff, Eric, I have them on speed dial, guys. We use them a lot, and they help out Anaconda an awful lot. Whether it's good or bad news, they answer the phone and they take care of it. Addressing the issue was the first part. We went to the U.S. Treasury and we had a discussion with our staff trying to explain, guys, this is the need, and we are a county like everybody else. We thought it would be a simple conversation with discussing this and explaining, hey, this funding's needed and we're no different than Lewis and Clark County. Unfortunately, they didn't see it eye to eye. Right after that, we were back in touch with the Senator's office, and the Senator is always with great confidence pushed forward and says, hey, we're going to take care of this, we're going to make it right. It's impressive. He's able to look out after two small counties. This funding is well needed. Anaconda, our plans for this is going to parallel with more things that we're asking the Senator help for, and we'll use this $1 million as a match on our raised grant proposal to redo Milk Brick Road. And we've been working on this with the Senator's office for the past 3 years and have great letters of support in the past, and obviously looking for those again in the future. So this money is needed. And with that, I just want to say, truly, thank you, Senator. You do a heck of a job for Montana.
Thank you, Bill, and I want to thank you too for your leadership for Anaconda Deer Lodge. Yes, sir.
What was the rationale for not allowing you combined governments?
Yeah, well, I think that they went by the exact way the bill was written, and we didn't have it crafted in there that city county governments would be allowed, and so consequently they used that as a way not to put the funding out, when in fact, as has already been pointed out, Butte and Anaconda both have needs just like neighboring counties. And I think we made that case. They didn't feel that they could change it using the rules that they had to change it. They needed an act of Congress. And we were able to get that done because, quite honestly, Lisa Murkowski, who I worked with on a number of projects in the past on Indian Affairs, bipartisan infrastructure bill and things like that, has been very good to work with, and she had the same challenge up in Alaska. And by the way, there was challenges, I believe, in Texas and Kentucky. There were probably some other ones around that had the same challenges. So as we help Butte and Anaconda and Silver Bow and Deer Lodge counties, there's a lot of other places that got impacted negatively. And I would just say, this is good news from my perspective because this is how Congress intended it to be. And it's also good news because I've seen time and time again the money that flowed into the counties and municipalities from the federal government has been used in an incredibly effective way to make a difference for working families and small businesses. And I think that's really tells you that the government closest to people is the best government. And they do it every day. So easy to fight for, let's just put it that way. Yes, John.
Senator, it sounds like you're prorating this too. the funding, we're making up for the parking. How far back, I guess how much time did we miss funding?
So this is from the American Rescue Plan, and they got some money from the American Rescue Plan. This will make them whole on those dollars. And I'll just tell you how the process works, John, because we had the ability to talk about this a few months ago, and I appreciate that. But we believe this week the opportunity to apply for these funds will open up. And if you need help on that, get a hold of us. And then we are going to push these folks to get this money out as soon as possible, because the quicker they can get it in the hands of Butte Silver Bowl and Anaconda Deer Lodge, the more they can start utilizing it. But we will push, and we'll push hard, and I think the money will be there within the next month, as long as we get the application in as quick as possible.